So, what is the one thing, project, or service that you and your team are working on right now that you think could be a game changer in the next year?
Well, I'm going to broaden out the question just a little bit. I'm going to talk about two, if that's okay with you. One of the projects that we're working on is really to help our small businesses. So we have close to 8 million small businesses on the Zelle network. And so we just recently launched Zelle Tag. And Zelle Tag is the ability for a small business to be able to sign up for Zelle and have a tag that basically defines what the business is. So instead of looking for Denise's tag via her email or her phone number, you would look for Denise's dog walking. And so we believe that this is a great idea to be able to drive business for small businesses who may want to share a tag versus sharing an email or a phone number. And I think that you'll see more small business tools and capabilities for us to roll out as well, because we really see one of our highest growth vectors is that small business segment. The other thing that we announced back in the fall was the ability to send Zelle internationally via stablecoin. So the teams are heads down on that, working diligently in order to be able to deliver that. So more to come there, but we really think that there is a need to be able to send safe, fast, reliable payments internationally, just as you can with Zelle within the US.
And that's a good segue because I was also wanted to ask you about competition in general. I hear that you're innovating to stay relevant, which makes perfect sense. There seems to be so much going on, like Fed Now, for example, open banking, banks working together. In Canada now, they're launching their own platform. So when the act of moving money is becoming more of a commodity, what are you doing to ensure that your value proposition remains relevant and competitive?
So Zelle, we just announced that we moved $1.2 trillion last year. So about 20% growth year over year, which is extraordinarily exciting. We also we have about 160 million accounts active on the network. And in December alone, we had over 100 million accounts actually sending money in December. So really big numbers, but we're still seeing extraordinary growth even off of a large base. And when we really think about innovation, it's how can we be able to provide these tools and capabilities not only for the largest banks but for all 2,400 financial institutions that we have on the network. So that includes your small community banks, your small credit unions. And so we really think about like what are the tools that we can bring to them in order to be able to fulfill their customer needs. Because really the value proposition that Zelle delivers on is the idea of being able to go into your banking app, being able to send that money quickly and securely. And then on the other end, it also hits a bank account so that those funds are almost immediately available. So that if you're in the store and you need to go and make that purchase immediately, or if you need to pay rent, you have those funds and you can access them right then.
Okay. And going back to Fed now, then, so they are kind of proposing that they are able to offer the same thing. Do you think they will be eating your lunch, or will they be complementary, targeting a different part of the market, or how do you think about that?
Yeah. So for Zelle, since we have such a large, widespread network of the 2,400 financial institutions, and we are multiples in terms of volume of our competitors, we feel confident that if we continue to innovate, we continue to provide the right tools and capabilities, we'll continue to grow.
Okay. Another big thing when it comes to quicker payments, I guess, is also quicker frauds, and criminals are getting much more sophisticated now with social engineering. How do you think about protection and fraud, as you also want to lower friction and make it easier for people to transact? How do you strike the balance between those two almost opposite opportunities or challenges?
Yeah. And it's a hard balance to strike. But the way that we think about it is threefold. One is technology. So we spend a lot of investment, also a lot of time, really bringing technology so that we have fraud detection capabilities that are world class. We also have, because the network is so large, we have billions and billions of data points in order to have robust models to get fraudsters out of the system. The second thing that we really think about is, to your point, the product experience. So that we definitely want people to be able to move money quickly and securely, but we've also developed what I call these mini road bumps in the experience itself, just to ensure that people are sending it to the right email or the right phone number, and that they're taking that moment to pause and really consider the money movement before they send it. And then the third is we really spend a lot of time educating consumers and going out and talking to folks about using Zelle and treating it just like cash. So those are the three things that we've really been leaning on in order to make Zelle the safe network that it is.
Okay. And zooming out a little bit then and thinking about your role as a general manager, there's so much going on, obviously competition, innovation, AI, and whatnot. How do you strike the balance between managing the day-to-day stuff that has to happen and all those opportunities that you could run after? What's your secret? How do you split your head and your time and your team to be able to deliver?
Yeah, so I think you're right. It's an extraordinarily exciting time to be part of technology and part of financial services, but there is a lot going on. So for us, it's really about being disciplined on our roadmap and really making sure that we have the right priorities in place so that we can deliver. So it's really about getting people really focused and also really clear in terms of the goals, and having clarity around the goals is really important. But the other thing that I would say, which is really important for me, and what I think about when I build teams, is you need to be surrounded by people that you want to work with. You need to actually have a sense of fun and a sense of joy and a sense of humor when you're working and you're trying to innovate and develop new products. Because without that, it becomes much less fun, and I would say much less innovative and joyful.
Sound advice. I often write about the modern bank stack, where tech companies are collaborating with more traditional financial institutions to deliver new services to their end users. Do you have some examples of how you are doing that today, how you're collaborating, obviously, with financial institutions, but are you also embedding your solutions through other distribution channels, or are there other ways in how the bank stack is manifesting itself for you?
Yeah. So for Zelle, that's actually the definition of our product and of our technology. So since Zelle services 2,400 financial institutions, we think about providing services and capabilities to that entire network. We also, whenever we build product, we start with obviously getting our product teams together, but then we spend a lot of time with our bank partners and working diligently in order to build requirements, not only internally for Zelle, but then also the product requirements for the banks as well. So it's a huge collaboration in order to bring anything to market for us. And for us, that's actually a huge strength, because that provides us the scale, this enormous scale that we have in order to deliver on that 1.2 trillion. And it's really that distribution that the financial institutions provide, where we can reach out and have 160 million active accounts. So we really have become this interesting innovation arm for financial services.
Denise, super insightful as always. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.